what are some of the static testing techniques that you are aware of?
Static testing techniques.
So you covered about the dynamic
I'm
testing or
not
black box
recalling.
testing. Okay.
Yes.
Like reviews.
Yes, reviews, inspection, walkthroughs,
That's correct.
meetings. These
Yes.
are the all activities we perform in the verification
Right.
or
Yes.
in the static testing.
Static testing, right? So
Yes.
because you mostly do the reviews, and reviews can be informal, or the technical reviews, the walkthroughs, the inspections, right? Or there are tools as well to do the static analysis, or tools like to check the control flow of the code or data flow. So you can do static
Okay.
analysis on that, right? So that's correct. You were just not able to recall that. So these are some of the static testing techniques. And what are some of the types of acceptance testing? So first, explain me what exactly is an acceptance testing, and then explain some of the types of acceptance testing.
Okay. Acceptance testing means this is the test end-to-end testing where customer use the software for a particular period of time, and after that he gives the feedback back to the team. Basically, in acceptance testing, which is done by the end user at the end user in the real time environment. That is what the acceptance testing is. Basically, there are the two types of to do the acceptance testing: alpha testing and the beta testing. Alpha testing, basically we do the alpha testing before the software is going to launch in the product market. Sorry, and we do the beta testing when the your software at the product market. Alpha testing, we basically alpha testing is done by the developer, no, sorry, testing team, and the beta testing usually done by the end user who is using that product. Means we particularly we release the product to the limited number of user, and that limited number of user, they use the product, sorry, they use the software and give feedbacks to the testing team, and accordingly they change the requirement. If customer satisfies it well, then it's okay, then it provide then it give access to the all the peoples. Alpha testing, basically which cover only positive testing, and beta testing covers black box testing and white box testing, and at the beta testing we do only black box testing.
Okay. So overall,
And also
yeah, go ahead.
and also we do alpha testing at the development site, and we do the beta testing at the real time environment with the real end user. They use that software.
Right.
And user acceptance testing, it is also called as the final acceptance testing, and red box acceptance testing.
Okay, good. So overall, mostly correct, not 100%, but mostly correct, right? So the in initial lines you mentioned that it is done only by the real customers, which is I think maybe you didn't try to mean that it is just by the customers. It can be a mix of internal staff as well as the customer, right? So user acceptance testing can be done within the development side, which you already covered, like alpha testing, where the business stakeholders as such. So usually on the ground, when we talk about UAT, it's done by the business stakeholders of the company. So say, for example, you are working in a banking industry. So from the banking departments, the key business people will come through, and then there'll be a team which will coordinate the user acceptance testing with those business stakeholders, and the actual business users who will be using that software will be doing the UAT. So that's the internal. But now say, for example, if this software needs to be released to external customer as well, where the beta testing comes in picture, and you would have noticed that like Gmail keeps releasing beta. Initially it used to
WhatsApp
happen,
even.
yeah, even like WhatsApp. So they choose a set of customers customers where they release a particular feature in the production, and it's just set of customer. They gather the feedback, they fix any issues, and then they roll out to the wider audience. Now, in terms of the types, you covered alpha and beta, but there are many other types like contract acceptance testing, regulation, or the compliance acceptance testing, right? So if you just browse through the internet, you will find many other types. And when we say contract acceptance testing, it's as the word contract is there, right? So as per the contract, whether software meets the contract requirements. Compliance, there are regulatory compliance, right? So for example, in India, if you have to launch a particular software, these are the regulations that your particular software has to meet. In
Okay.
Australia, these are the regulations. So that is regulation or compliance. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
these are different terms, but very simple things. These are, like once you know it, the actual testing is very complicated. When we talk about contract acceptance, when we talk about compliance, then we have to go through the compliance document and then make sure that our software meets all those criteria. But in terms of understanding that there are many other types of acceptance testing, you can go through Google around and at least understand the basic.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. What do you understand by risk-based testing?
Risk based. Sir, I never heard this testing.
Okay. So this
Sorry,
is,
sir.
yeah, that's absolutely fine. So risk-based testing is very important. So what we'll do is I'll cover the details of risk-based testing once we finish this interview. Okay. So let's move on to the next
Yes, sir.
question, and I'll explain what is risk-based testing later. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what do you understand by test plan?
Test plan basically it consists of document where we documents what are the activities we are going to perform. All these we mention in the test plan. Basically, in the test plan, which consists of the objective, the scope, out of scope, then the tool selection. If you are using automation, you want to run the automation script, which automation tools you are going to use. Then the risk, what risk can be happen, and what will be the backup and mitigation plan to overcome that risk. Also the deliverables, what are the deliverables you are going to deliver to the customer, then release notes, also the entry and exit criteria. All these things are mentioned in the test plan.
Right. Yeah, absolutely correct. So you can start with a general example around the planning, importance of planning, and then explain all these points that you have mentioned. So all your points are absolutely fine. You can just start with why planning is important, and the test plan is basically plan to test a software where we outline what will be the scope, what will be the approach, schedule, people who will be testing it, what we need to test. So all those things that you have mentioned, that like the template points, right? So absolutely correct.
Yes.
No problem with that. Okay. What is the difference between forward and backward traceability? So what is requirement traceability first, and then what is the difference between backward and forward traceability?
Requirement traceability means the uh, make sure that for each and every requirement there should be an test cases. We should write test cases for each and every requirement. That is what the traceability matrix is. And forward and backward traceability matrix is so sorry, I don't know that.
Okay, so this is also very, very important to understand about the requirement traceability matrix, because requirement traceability matrix nowadays you do not create it manually, but automatically there are tools that will help you to generate. Now, what exactly this traceability matrix does is it helps you to ensure or get you a matrix of the coverage. So basically, test coverage you can identify through the traceability matrix. So how many test cases are being written to the for the requirement. So when we talk about forward traceability, it's from the requirement how many test cases are associated. Then for those test cases, you link the execution. So when you do the execution, and then how many defects are being raised. So that's the forward traceability. When you start from the top is the requirement, right? Requirement, test, execution, defects, whatever is linked. So that mapping is forward traceability. And when we say backward traceability, you would have identified it now, right? From the defect
Yes.
execution
Defect.
test, right? Which defect is linked to which test, and then which test is linked to which requirement. Why it is helpful? It helps you to see how much coverage or how many test cases are written for those requirements,
Requirements.
right? So like if the
Yes.
requirement is very critical, then you need to make sure that requirement is covered very properly. There are good number of test cases, and not only the number, they need to be the quality test cases with proper test design techniques, so that you get good coverage in terms of testing. All right.
Yes.
Cool. So this is very important, Snehal. So make sure that you understand traceability matrix. There are lots of blogs over the internet. Go through that. People have explained traceability with usage of the Excel sheets, and you will understand how you can create traceability matrix manually. But then there are tools like Zephyr in Jira is the tool that I have explained in my tutorial, how you can create the traceability matrix automatically, right? How that tool creates that. Okay.